Hello students, welcome to class. I want you to skip the meat and I also want you to skip the insanity. Today we're going to be looking at a video by some guy who thinks he's vegan, but he's really not helping the vegan movement at all. And I've already had some run-ins with this guy, but now I see that we have a doctor who is telling everybody also the same thing, that this guy cannot be trusted because he actually thinks that B12 is not a thing. This is really dangerous and could actually lead to somebody dying. So don't listen to that guy, listen to the doctor, and let's listen together to what he says.
Drink soy milk, oat milk, rice milk, almond milk. Don't steal milk from a cow. Be vegan, start right now. Follow that vegan teacher, she will show you how.
Elle says, have you ever met anybody with a B12 deficiency? No, I haven't, because B12 doesn't exist.
There is now a clique of vegans that believes that vitamin B12 doesn't even exist and that we don't need to supplement it. One even wrote a book about it. This is dangerous, and their advice could kill people if they follow suit. Vitamin B12 was identified in the 1940s. This came after the identification of pernicious anemia, a potentially fatal condition characterized by a type of anemia with enlarged blood cells and degeneration of the spinal cord. Researchers in the early 1900s found that feeding liver to these patients could dramatically improve their condition, and this led to the isolation and identification of vitamin B12 by two separate research groups. Now, pernicious anemia is an autoimmune condition in which cells in our stomach that help us to absorb vitamin B12 are destroyed. However, B12 deficiency can also be caused by other conditions affecting absorption or by just not consuming enough, which could be the case for vegans who don't supplement or consume fortified foods because B12 is really only concentrated in animal foods and supplements. And in addition to what was mentioned previously, B12 deficiency can result in a wide range of symptoms. These include fatigue, numbness and tingling, memory loss, confusion, or even death. This is because B12 is involved in DNA synthesis and the synthesis and repair of myelin, which insulates our nerves. It turns out DNA and nerves are pretty important. And some of the strongest evidence that B12 deficiency is very real is that giving oral B12 supplements or B12 injections can reverse these symptoms if done promptly. But the longer that the nerve-related symptoms are there, the less likely it is to be fully reversed. So let's prevent that in the first place. And like he mentioned, in today's day and age, you may not have actually met somebody with a serious B12 deficiency, but that's largely because of widespread supplementation and fortification in foods like plant-based milks and cereals. Avoiding those altogether is dangerous for vegans. But it's also not a vegan-specific issue. B12 supplements are often recommended for elderly regardless of their diet because our ability to digest and absorb B12 declines with age. And it's not uncommon for animal feed to be supplemented with vitamin B12 either. This is partially because the soil that's used to grow their food is often depleted in cobalt, which is needed to produce B12. Now, regarding the author of the anti-B12 book, a friend of mine who was in contact with her several months ago suggested that she speak with me about this topic, but once she found out it was me on the other end, she declined. I also had a back and forth with her on his post, and she again declined a debate, and he even went so far as to say that debate is pointless here, which I found pretty ironic because his content is almost exclusively just him debating people on veganism.
Would you rather pay someone to kill or take a cute little vitamin pill? Cyanocobalamin, it's a B12 vitamin. If you take 2,000 micrograms a week, all the cells in your body will win. Let's get a quote from nutritionfacts.org. B12 is not made by plants or animals, but by microbes that blanket the earth. These bacteria grow in the guts of animals, which is why their body and products can be a source of this vitamin. Our herbivore primate cousins get all they need ingesting bugs, dirt, and feces, and we may have once gotten all we needed by drinking out of mountain streams or well water. But now we chlorinate our water supply to kill off any bugs, so we don't get a lot of B12 in the water anymore, but we don't get a lot of cholera either. That's a good thing. Would you rather pay someone to kill or take a cute little vitamin pill? Cyanocobalamin, it's a B12 vitamin. If you take 2,000 micrograms a week, all the cells in your body will win. Be better, be vegan.
I'm going to call this what it is. It's cult-like behavior, and it not only stands to hurt people, but can hurt the animals. The moment that somebody follows their advice for long enough to end up in the hospital or worse, it's going to be on the news. And the headlines are going to read, "Veganism kills," even though the problem was they were talked out of taking one of the cheapest supplements on the planet.
All right, you see, this is it. This is what a little tiny, cute little B12 pill looks like. It is so tiny, it costs about 5 cents. You can bite it, doesn't taste like anything really. People should be taking it anyway if they are older. I'm a nurse, and I remember that there were people who needed to be on B12 sometimes even injections, because that is just what happens when you get older. You have a harder time to digest it. And here in Italy, for example, the soy milk doesn't have B12 added to it. Neither does the nutritional yeast. So it's really important that you take it. And it's much better to skip the meat and take a little B12 pill than it is to pay for murder. So this doctor's right.
A vegan diet can absolutely be incredibly healthy if you don't follow this kind of nonsense. So yeah, vegans, let's stop this behavior.
Dr. Naga, he is smart. He thinks with his head, but he also acts with his heart. Thank you, Dr. Nagra, for all the great work that you're doing. And if you guys are watching and you haven't yet subscribed to his channel, make sure that you do. Let's go. You ready to be vegan? I'm gonna help you out. First of all, remember that being vegan is about not exploiting animals. But of course, you're also going to be extremely healthy. Just remember to take your vegan multivitamin with B12 and D3 every day, and you're on your way. These are vegan foods you should eat. Fruits, nuts, grains, and seeds. These are vegan foods you should eat. Fruits, nuts, grains, and seeds. These are vegan foods you should eat. Fruits, nuts, grains, and seeds. These are vegan foods you should eat. Tofu, tempeh, lentils, chickpeas, black beans, quinoa, oats, brown rice, buckwheat, potatoes, broccoli, spinach, kale, Brussels sprouts, zucchini, and seaweed like nori. Oh, and don't forget to absorb the iron in your spinach smoothie. Add fruits rich in vitamin C. These are vegan foods you should eat. Fruits, nuts, grains, and seeds. These are vegan foods you should eat. Fruits, nuts, grains, and seeds. These are vegan foods you should eat. Fruits, nuts, grains, and seeds. These are vegan foods you should eat. Bananas, oranges, pomegranates, chia seeds, hazelnuts, walnuts, peanut butter toast with pumpkin seeds and blueberries. Vegan pizza, vegan pasta, onions, garlic, turmeric, cauliflower, curry, seitan, dates, and cranberries. Cocoa. Oh no, this list of vegan foods is too long. I'll never fit them all into one song. Anyway, just go to the grocery store and get a rainbow of different colors. Stay away from the morgue part of the grocery store. Stay away from the cemetery section. You can do it. Let's sing some more. These are vegan foods you should eat. Fruits, nuts, grains, and seeds. These are vegan foods you should eat. Fruits, nuts, grains, and seeds. These are vegan foods you should eat. Fruits, nuts, grains, and seeds. These are vegan foods you should eat. Okay, let's talk about what's wrong with the carnivore diet. First of all, they lack nutrients like fiber, vitamins, and minerals. Also, it's not good for your gut microbiome. You increase your risk of cancer, heart attacks, diabetes, and strokes. So ethically and environmentally, it's not good for animals, you, or the planet. Okay, one thing I have to be honest with you about is that when you become vegan, you're going to encounter something called vegan phobia. Don't worry though, this has nothing to do with you. The fact of the matter is that people are jealous of vegans. They know that what we're doing is right. They know that our choices are best for the animals and the planet. It's just that they think for some reason that they can't be like us. But of course they can. So they'll make all kinds of jokes, they'll call you soy boy, and you'll just remind them that soy is high in protein, in nutrients, it's gut friendly, and you'll say,